All right, guys. So far this month, I've made $5,829.46 from just one channel on YouTube, my main channel on YouTube. This is one of 4 channels, and this doesn't include any extras outside of AdSense. This is just purely AdSense revenue. And yesterday came in pretty decent. Yesterday came in pretty decent at $752.35. And granted, this is a 17-day total so far, so that's an average of $342.91 per day. Not bad. Still shooting for bigger, more consistent daily numbers of a higher range, but I think we're actually making some really good progress. I mean, if you look back on some of the earlier days and earlier numbers, I mean, to average 342 or 343 rounding up, to have highs of over $750, we've had highs over 8, getting back closer to the $1,000 per day territory. This is all good if you ask me. And again, this is just one channel out of 4 that I have, 3 of which are monetized and 2 that my wife have that are monetized. So this is 1 out of 5 monetized channels, okay? And this doesn't include any of the other 6 income streams that I have, which I think we are really about to see pick up. And I've kind of mentioned this before. The fall, like the last half of the year, the last quarter of the year is usually like the strongest in terms of revenue. But so far, with a lot of the actions we've been taking and the strategic moves we've been making and the relationships we've been building and you know literally all the irons we've got in the fire, it looks like we're about to see a really good second half here, almost halfway through the beginning of the first month of the second half. So there's that. Today I come from you, not sure how this is going to look because I had to relocate underneath this umbrella for some shade and coverage because it is way hotter out here than it is in my happy place back at home. But it is really nice weather, and it creates, like with the waterfall back there, which you probably can't hear because the noise cancellation's on, and just the sun shining and the vibe of this courtyard, it just really inspires me to just share and just talk and just speak naturally. One of the things I wanted to share with you today is what Alex Hormozi taught me. And he taught me how to learn, or at least learning shit fast made simple, okay? And so it's funny because I watched this video clip on TikTok, and this young man was sitting there. He was talking about how Alex Hormozi told him basically, don't make any content until you've made any accomplishments. And he kind of like took it a certain way, and he thought to himself, no, I'm going to make content.
Hot take, but the moment I stopped watching Alex Hormozi and stopped watching business content in general, the better my life got and the better my business did. The problem with me, and this is probably the problem with most people, is not that we don't have enough information, is that we have too much information to start out. When you're consuming content, and Alex Hormozi's content is so packed, so dense, it's like drinking from the fire hose, you just get paralyzed. You get so confused that you end up just not starting anything. I remember the last Alex Hormozi video I watched, he said, don't make any content until you've achieved something. And I remember I heard that and I was like, nah, fuck it, I want to start making content. I want to start making YouTube videos. That was the last video of his I watched. I started making YouTube videos documenting my TikTok shop journey and my growth on TikTok shop. 5 months later, I did eventually accomplish something, which my TikTok shop took off. I started making more money through that, but also my videos started going viral. The videos that I made against Alex Hormozi's advice, the videos I made before achieving success started to take off. Now imagine I had listened to his advice. I waited until I did something with TikTok shop and started doing good in business to start creating content. I would have missed out on the ability to have documented my journey and the ability for people to see my journey. So take that how you will, but I stopped watching Alex Hormozi and my life and business started doing much better.
But ultimately, I don't think what he realized was that he had already actually made accomplishments, and therefore he was perfectly okay making content. But I think what's most important here isn't just taking this specifically or even trying to leverage Alex Hormozi to tell your story, maybe generate a few extra impressions and clicks through the algorithm, but worse off, try to create this negative as if Alex Hormozi lied to you or told you the wrong thing or doesn't know what he's talking about, which I would find that extremely hard to believe. But instead realizing the truth. And the truth is that, well, you had actually made accomplishments already. You just didn't realize it. You just didn't understand it. You didn't identify it and accept it. Or maybe you did, and this is all just, for show because you're trying to gain and build engagement and sell somebody a course or a product. I get it. I understand. However, if you're on the level and you are being honest and, truthful in your storytelling, for which I can tell you guys I am entirely, I'm going to tell you guys right now, I really appreciate Alex Hormozi and everything that he does and he shares and he posts and he says and he quotes and all. I appreciate it. Odds are I'll probably never spend any money on any of his products or any of his courses because he is so effective that even sometimes people don't realize how effective he really is. Hindsight, even if this young man hadn't necessarily been qualified to already create content, Alex Hormozi himself in some way, shape, or form inspired and encouraged and pushed this young man to succeed. That's it. At the end of the day, Alex Hormozi, I think, is ultimately trying to push more people, more entrepreneurs, more solopreneurs, more people in general to just getting up and taking action, period. If you work with him and you buy from him, great. But if not, the world can't be that much worse off with more driven and motivated, inspired people creating businesses, generating, helping the economy, perhaps maybe even creating jobs and continuing on with that trend, and perhaps maybe even sitting down one day and doing exactly what I'm doing and sharing their stories with the world, hoping that it just reaches one person and it makes a difference for one person and perhaps maybe even changes somebody's life and tells them they hear what they need to hear and they get started down that path and they just crush it. Maybe. And so this one in particular really resonated with me because as I'm reading it, it clicked. It really clicked, okay? And so Alex Hormozi, learning shit fast made simple. It's a 5-step process. Step 1, do it 100 times. Step 2, look at the top 10% outcomes. Step 3, compare the differences between the top 10% and the bottom 90%. Step 4, incorporate those changes for the next 100 repetitions. And step 5, repeat steps 1 through 4 until people call you a natural. And granted, maybe some people would call me a natural. I myself think my wife is a natural, especially when it's time to just press record or go live on a camera. Just her charisma and her attitude and just her relatability is just epic, okay? But for me, I'm analytical. I look at the numbers, I'm digging in, and essentially I've already done this. And Alex Hormozi is just kind of reminding me, hey, you've already done this. You've already said you were going to do this. Now stick with it. Because even on this channel, I mentioned with you guys that the dollar cost averaging daily investment of playing slots and just winning it big eventually. And that would be consistently making content. And then after that video, I said, you know what? Instead of spending the same amount of time that I would to make 10 videos a day, spend that same time to make one video a day, okay? And make that one video better. Well, in essence, that's doing it 100 times and then pulling the top 10% outcomes to hammer down on doing it better the next 100 times. And if you look at how many channels or videos I've created, thousands. If you look at the charts from revenue from my main channel, you can see the spikes. So essentially, I can start here, go 100 videos, and I probably say, as many as I've made so far, I could probably go 95 videos and get to 100. And I can look at the spikes. I can look at the spikes over that. Pull out the top 10%. What did I do on the top 10%? Okay, do it again, exclusively that, for the next 100. And can you imagine? Can you imagine what the numbers would look like after that? I know I can. And so this is just another one of those instances and situations where Alex Hormozi is just, his value is just tremendous. And it's in a way that maybe not necessarily the exact way he intended, but it is definitely helpful to me. And I hope it's helpful to somebody else. I really do. Hell, if this encourages you to go invest in Alex Hormozi's products and courses and opportunities because of me and my story, even better. And I'm not even affiliated with him at all, besides having a community on Skool. That's pretty much it. And so at the end of the day, folks, it's a numbers game. And so however you want to look at it from that perspective is fine. But I think what's most important is trying to get to the point of having, let's just say, your 100 case studies to then analyze and pull out the top 10% to figure out, I should be doing more of this and less of that. If in fact you're watching this because you're trying to find ways to make more money, which that wraps up day 31 for me here, folks. But day 32 may actually be this next title that I have here, which is, odds are you're watching this because you want to find out how to make more money.